Hi everyone, this is M from Truant Pixel. If you're seeing this, then the Legacy Dashboard Dynamic theme will soon be made available on PSN. I wanted to use this as an opportunity to discuss what makes this theme in particular different from other themes we've done in the past. Now, this theme started out as several proofs of concept, beginning way back in 2015 when we first started creating dynamic themes for the PlayStation 4. For those unfamiliar, this is based on the original PlayStation 2 system software, which even now, 17 years later, stands apart from its contemporaries as an iconic representation of the hardware it was designed for. This project was made possible through collaboration with Sony Interactive Entertainment America, Japan, and Naughty Dog, and it is our small way, as fans, to celebrate a console which has indelibly shaped the interactive entertainment landscape. As I mentioned earlier, this theme started as several different concepts. Each was designed to recreate a unique aspect of the PlayStation 2 BIOS, albeit in high resolution. The final product is essentially three themes in one, as three separate processes are running in tandem to create a skin or the illusion of an operating system. These components are the introduction sequence, the 7 stars, and the crystal clock. In each case, we've endeavored to recreate each element as accurately as possible, or as accurately as the theme software will allow us. The orbital patterns and the different formations of the 7 stars, how they evolve over the course of the minute, the behavior of the crystal clock, how the different elements animate, how the entire clock face rotates based on the active hour, how the surface materials behave, how the light source is tied to the animation of the stars, and how it affects the arms of the clock face. At the same time, we've tried to introduce some interactive components to the theme as well. For example, user input will cause the orbits of the 7 stars to speed up for a brief instant. The color of the crystal clock will actually change as the user switches back and forth between the content and the function screens, from blue to a deep shade of purple and back. This is all tied together with original audio extracted from original PlayStation 2 hardware. That includes the ambient background noise as well as the sounds from the user interface. Getting this theme to work was, for us, a technical accomplishment. Without going into too much detail, the environment in which theme software runs on the PlayStation 4 is fairly limited. You're limited by how much memory you have available, how many GPU cycles you can use, because the system software must constantly run in the background, and thus cannot take any significant amount of system resources. Another thing to keep in mind is theme developers don't have access to any contemporary or modern visual effects that, as game developers, we take for granted. Things like particle systems, stencil shadows, materials, shader effects, lighting. So all of these have to be worked out in advance, and we have to figure out specific workarounds to enable these effects or the appearance of these effects in real time. This is why in the theme marketplace you see an abundance of themes which are essentially comprised of a sequence of images organized as a flipbook animation, not really video. The problem with this approach is that it's not really dynamic, and you are extremely limited in how many high-quality frames you can compress into the theme software, because the pool of memory is extremely small. This is why when themes take this approach, it's fairly obvious to see that it is usually a very short cycled sequence, and given that theme software itself runs at 60 frames per second, to be able to pack that many frames into animation becomes even more prohibitive. This in turn forces a compromise. Lower quality images must be used to allow for an adequate number of animation frames and a reasonably smooth sequence. And when considering the PlayStation 4 Pro, these issues are compounded because you're introducing higher resolution displays into the mix, and thus more aggressive image optimization and compression artifacts become magnified. It's for these reasons that Truant Pixel develops exclusively real-time dynamic themes when we do theme work, because they represent the highest possible quality in terms of visual fidelity and interaction. That being said, most themes, which use a custom scripting language, are composed of anywhere from 12 to 50 lines of code. The more complex the theme, of course, the greater the amount of code is required. The Legacy Dynamic theme, for example, is comprised of more than 900 lines of code to control all of the different processes in tandem. And because it's an entirely custom markup, there are no shortcuts. All of our themes are created using a text editor. This is our first attempt at providing commentary for one of our theme videos. If you like this approach, please let us know in the comments. You can subscribe to this channel if you want to be kept updated on future themes. Additionally, we post works in progress to this channel, so you can provide your feedback on what you want to see on the marketplace. Lastly, and as always, thank you for your time and support.